Goldy, amazing news for all North Melbourne supporters today. You've signed a new deal that will keep you at Arden Street next year. How happy are you to get that done?
Yeah, look, I think you're always pleased to have that out of the way and can focus on going forward. I think for me, there was very little doubt that I was planning on wanting to stay. It was just more finalising the details and that. But no, I'm very excited for what next year can bring.
To no surprise, you remain one of our most important players each week. How do you sum up at what was a little bit of a roller coaster year last year?
Yeah, look, I think it's a great learning year. I think you can use that flippantly, but I think the resilience that the group showed, the ability to still front up and work really hard on the training track and still try and put stuff into place in the games shows that the group's really dedicated and really wants to move forward. And I think that's the biggest thing is that with Clarko coming in, it'll give show him the impetus that the group wants to get better. And we just need to be given the right structures and the right way to play and be able to execute that. But I think the exuberance of this group is still there, and it's very hard when you're losing games to do that, but they still manage to keep that.
Between Cunners, Zeeble and yourself, you're pretty much the lifeblood of this club. How special is it for the three of you to be able to lead this club next year?
Oh, it's massive. I think I was there a couple of years before Zeebs and 3 before Cunners, but I think for us that being one club players and being able to pass the torch on to the next group is something that's really important to me. I was lucky enough that I started when people like Glenn Archer, Adam Simpson, Shannon Grant, all these sort of players were finishing up, and then they passed the torch on to Drew Petrie and Boomer, and Boomer and Drew have passed it on to us. So it's our obligation to try and teach these young boys what it takes to be a North Melbourne person, a North Melbourne player, and we're pretty committed and pretty dedicated to teaching them before we're done.
And how much are you looking forward to lining up in that centre square of your old mate Ben Cunnington?
Oh look, it was a massive thrill to have him back in against Adelaide. It was something that dreams are made of, to be able to play with him again, and something that we didn't think was necessarily definitely going to happen. So that was really exciting. But I think this whole midfield group, I think you see with Jai winning his second best and fairest in a row, Luke Davies-Uniacke coming second, Bailey Scott playing wing and half back. I think we've got a really exciting midfield group, and then you still got to bring in players like Will Phillips and Jason Horne-Francis along with Cunners. I think it's just exciting to have that whole group and continue to learn and to grow together. Because I think we took some steps forward in the midfield. I think we're actually quite consistent, especially back end of the year. So we're really looking forward to that.
He's to play for North next year to bring up his 300th game for North, and he turns back the clock there.
A new coach in Clarkson and only 5 more games for the opportunity to call yourself a 300 gamer for North Melbourne. How much did this factor into your decision?
Obviously, I've made no bones that wanting to play 300 games for North Melbourne is something that I've always wanted. I've always held pretty special. I've been lucky enough to be on the list with 5 of our 6 300 game players. So I've watched all those guys bring up their 300s, and that was pretty special. And you could see how much this footy club meant to them. For me, I'm don't count my chickens before they've hatched. So I sort of want to get to 296 before I even think too much about 300. But if I was to get there, it's going to be pretty special, and hopefully we can do some pretty special things with the new coach next year.